Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's happening here in the greater Concord area. I'm your host, Patten. It's a pleasure to welcome back as my special guest today, Jack Dunn, from the City of Concord, the superintendent's office of the Union School District. But you're the actual business manager, or not treasurer?
The business administrator.
Administrator.
Yeah. There's an elected treasurer now. Yeah.
Now,
I used to be the treasurer.
Yeah, and when's your term up again?
Well, I'm not elected. I'm appointed.
Oh.
So it's every year. I'm an at-will employee.
So you don't have to run like we did the first time?
Not when I was on the school board. When you're on the school board, you have to run.
But I thought when the legislature changed something, you had to run for that.
For treasurer, you do. And that gets a grand old stipend of $300. But when I left the school board, I left my private sector job to apply for the business administrator job.
Yeah.
So I left the school.
So who's treasurer?
Cass Ardinger.
Oh, okay, so she has to run again then.
Yeah, she has to run every 3 years.
So is that up this year? No.
Is the treasurer up this year? I don't know if the treasurer is up this year. I don't know, to be honest with you. No. Her and I meet sometimes once a month, sometimes it's quarterly, depending on what the needs are. But
crazy.
It doesn't. It's kind of a odd thing. I mean, it's kind of like having a CFO and then electing somebody else to make sure that they sign off on this and that. So.
Well, another school year is almost coming up. I mean, you figure that April vacation will have come and gone by the time this show is on, but then it's just countdown to graduation, to the time to turn the books in for another year, and that's it until, what is it, the Wednesday before Labor Day or something you open up?
We're opening up the 30th. It's the first day of school next year.
August 30th.
Teachers are in the first 2 days of that year. Wow. So they're in Monday, Tuesday, and the students come back Wednesday.
Gee.
Yep. So flies by, doesn't it?
I know.
The last day of school is June 16th for the students and June 22nd for the staff. They're going an extra 4 days.
Wow.
So.
And then you have summer school.
And then there'll be some summer school and extended day, extended year programs for kids, that go on every year.
Where do they have summer school? At the high school?
At the high school, yep.
Now that's all for all grades, or just for high school grades?
For the high school grades. Yep, for the high school grades.
Just high school?
Mm-hmm.
So no junior high, no elementary, they don't do that? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Not that I'm aware of, not from everything I've seen.
Not that I ever went to it, but never had to go to summer school, but I always wondered what that was.
Yep.
And then, of course, you've got the big kindergarten issues on the table. Of course, that's...
Not in Concord, it's not.
Not for this
anymore.
year.
Not for this year, it's not. No, they voted and chose not to do it at this point, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what the legislature does. So.
Well, I mean, I heard pro and con on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly pro, but then I get, for my first reaction was, well, it might be nice, but some people could look at it as wow, I don't have to pay for a babysitter, so you guys will have to hire somebody to babysit my kids all day, which is too bad, but it could be looked at that way. But
sure.
I just myself, I think, and I know I'm wrong, probably because I'm still living back in 1950s, but it just seems like they're pushing the kindergartners in the first grade more and more than they ever did.
Sure.
I know when I went to kindergarten, it was to learn our ABCs, our numbers and things on the bulletin board, on the chalkboard. I mean, we played a lot of games. I mean, Miss Silsby was my kindergarten teacher at Dame School, and but that was half-day sessions. We'd go one part of the year we'd go morning, then we switched, went to the afternoon in the second half of the year. Mm-hmm. And I, for some reason, thought that's where they were still doing it, but I don't know. Are they still doing it?
There's AM kindergarten and PM kindergarten. There's two different things, and we run the buses. But the program is not a true half-day program because it's only about 2.5 hours. But the board did an extensive study for the last year, and there's pros and cons to it. But I think part of the difficulty that I see is when you try to compare Concord to Hopkinton or Abo, they might have it. I think you also have to look at the other infrastructures in place. I mean, there's East Side, there's the Learning Center at the there's a number of other organizations, private organizations that have some type of care.
Yeah.
Granted, I know it's expensive, and then there becomes that value of, okay, who is benefiting from it versus who is not. And at least collectively, what I've seen from the study when I was on the board and when this study is that it helps those that are socioeconomically disadvantaged. And your bigger bang for your buck is at the preschool level than at the high school, than at the kindergarten level. But
you don't do preschool, do you?
we do. We do a preschool
do?
program too. Yeah, we do
I
a
didn't know
preschool
that.
over at Beaver Meadow and at Millbrook. Yeah,
But the rest of the city don't then.
right. It's only those two schools that have programs. Yep.
Boy, I mean, pretty sad when you see a first grader or kindergarten get on that computer and know more stuff than I do.
Sure.
You know, it's like, whoa. You know, I mean, it just amazes me what they do know.
Yeah, they do. They're pretty good. I have a 3-year-old, and she's all over this stuff. They're like sponges right now. It's great. It's great. So
What is the attendance this year, up or down?
it's down a little bit. We're down a little over 4,300 kids when you count Deerfield. So
You're
about,
down 4,300?
No, that's what we got in total.
Oh, total.
We're projecting to go down about another 73 next year, I think, is what the estimate is.
So could you absorb another high school from another city in here?
It would depend on the size of the school.
I know Pittsfield was talking about it, but I guess they're going to keep their own now for another year. But
Sure.
Pittsfield was talking. But other than that, I don't know many
Well,
other towns that you would get.
The high school had at one point 1,900 kids in it, and it now has 1,634. That's what we show, including Deerfield. So
Really?
there's enough room for you could add another 200 kids in there, you know, to be able to handle that. 300 maybe, but yeah, you should be able to handle 200.
Well, Deerfield seems pretty happy though.
Yep, we renewed another 10-year agreement with them, so they're good till 2024 now.
Only because I've got some cousins that live in Deerfield, and their kids are going there.
Yep.
And they said they are very happy with Concord High.
Yep.
They love it.
They have 90. They have to send 90% of their kids. 10% can go to another school
Really?
that their school district will pay for, or whatever their arrangements will be. But we get about anywhere from 155 to 163 of their kids, depending. So, and they pay tuition for those, and then whatever the special ed costs, they're over and above the normal tuition. So, we feel it's a good relationship, and we went through the first 10 years and negotiated another 10 years. So,
Has it been 10 years?
2004 was the first agreement, and we renegotiated the new one
Gosh.
3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're good till 2024, but it works out well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
But, yeah.
So graduation now is going to be what, June?
It's June 17th. It's that Saturday still.
Yeah.
So,
What's going on there? You're going to still have it outside at Memorial Field?
well, I know the 8 years that I've been with the district, I think it's been outside every year. We've been lucky that there hasn't been inclement weather.
Yeah, I know.
So that's good. It's always
Good
good.
thing.
And you
Good
get more
thing.
family members in there, and you know, I can't imagine it being in that auditorium or the gymnasium. Oh my!
Well, they did do that.
I know they have.
Yeah, but I said, why don't they move it into the Everett Arena? I don't get it because, you know, as you said, in the auditorium or the gymnasium, it must be stifling in there.
Yeah.
But why not just move it into the Everett
I
Arena?
don't know. I haven't thought about it, but in thinking about it, when you look at the bleachers, I don't know how high up they go and how much they can handle versus the bleachers that are in the high school.
I know.
I was just thinking it from it being hot.
I mean, I don't know of any other than the Capitol Center for the Arts, I guess. You could see them and maybe have it in there.
Yeah, I don't know how much they hold either.
Well, I think they hold around 1,400, I think,
Oh, okay.
when it's a show in there.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't know. We don't really have. I mean, it's either that or moving it down to the. Well, it used to be the Verizon Center. Now I guess it's Southern New Hampshire Center.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Manchester, but
I doubt they'll want to do that. I'm gonna
you
make
know.
sure
But
my
other
ringer's
than
not
that,
on.
I mean, where else would you go in Concord?
No, just keep hoping for sun.
You
Keep
know?
it outside. That's the best place.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
a lot less It's not as hot, and
Well,
you know,
not
you
as
fit more
hot.
family members in it.
not as hot.
Yeah, at least
I can remember when it was
You can't
boiling hot up there when I graduated.
at least
I
you
mean,
can
well,
kind of control things.
Although
with,
we were lucky though, it was September 13th when I graduated up there, and we had, I think, around 350 or 400 kids.
Mm.
I remember because we had the boat kids then too.
Yeah.
And
That'd probably be right. You got about 1,600 now, 400 per. That's 1,600. That's
I
probably
think
right.
so
300,
because
400.
we were at the Memorial Field. Because I will say, the night before we had a shower, so it kind of cooled it off. And in the daytime, the year of '69, it was majorly hot. And then we had a terrific thunder shower just after that graduation ended. But there again, back those days, as I've said many times, they used to have the bandwagon on the field for you folks to sit in.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, why did they do away with it? They don't use the bandwagon anymore. How come?
I've never even seen it. I don't know anything about it. Do you know when the last year they did it?
No, because the first year, my sister graduated in '73. And that was the last graduation I went to until we had a foreign exchange student who was there in '97, I think. He was from Brazil. He was a 6-month student from Brazil. And that's when I found out they didn't have it there. And so I don't know what when they stopped using it, and I don't know why they did.
No,
Because it used to be on the field for the teachers, the superintendent. They had it opened wide up like they do on, the 4th of July and stuff. And that's where all the dignitaries sat, and the students walked up off the platform and got the diploma and shook the superintendent's hand, and off we went. But I was surprised when I went down there again in '98 for another graduation, and there was no bandwagon. I couldn't get an answer why it stopped, but I would think it'd be easier. And then, of course, I was taken aback when I saw the cigar smoking going on there and the balloons. I thought I was at Fenway Park sitting.
I don't think they have cigars. You probably see the balloons or the beach balls.
Yeah.
I think I remember
balloon.
seeing
Yeah,
that.
that's right, beach balls.
Yeah.
So what do you do with that case? You go grab them, do they? And
Oh, yeah, the teachers, they manage them.
they manage to
They manage them. That's their day.
But see, when I went there, we didn't do that stuff. They wouldn't allow it,
Yeah.
But in '97, I said, what the heck is that all about? And I was watching the guys smoking the cigars, and I thought, well, that's a good way to promote smoking and all that jazz. And I thought, well, gee, things have really changed since I was here.
Yeah.
But, because graduation to me was a very solemn event.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you realized it wasn't summer vacation. You were now heading to the work field or into the service,
Right.
or you would have a few weeks off before you went to college.
Mm-hmm.
But for most of us, it was work or the service.
Sure. Yep.
But I never forgot that. But I thought, boy, in a way, it was a solemn day. It seemed funny not to be getting ready to go back to school in the fall. And I mean, most kids get tired, but really, that's the best time of your life is school years.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that I located one of my teachers a few weeks ago. I met one of them a while ago, back a few years ago. In fact, 2 of them I've seen. But this one here was my high school teacher in 12th grade, I guess. He taught contemporary problems. His name was Jerome Spears. Mm-hmm. And this picture's in the class of '70 yearbook. I always wondered what happened to him. And sure enough, I found him on the internet. And I called him. He's in Connecticut, and we had a nice conversation. We talked over an hour. And we've communicated since a little bit, and he was just a real nice guy. And although at that time, he was single, and he told me, he said at that time he used to ride his motorcycle. And he was quite a hot number, I'd say, a little bit with the motorcycle there and stuff, but he was a good guy. He wouldn't take no guff, boy. He did not take any guff from any student, but anyhow, it was good to talk to him, but I don't know. So nowadays, with you and your budgets, are you cutting back any staff now for next year, or are you going to have to add some more, or what happens?
Well, we're
there,
reducing some staff, but a lot of that winds up happening through attrition. We've been pretty good at letting that happen. The retirements go out, some of the new people stay in. Not all the time does that happen. We have some at the elementary that we're reducing. It's purely class size. Enrollment drives everything. That's where the money is. You know, you get fewer students. You have to look at all the layouts and what the class sizes are, and then based on that, make a determination. And then you got to refer to the contract, and the contract dictates how that person, what person needs to go. So that's just what it is. Yeah. But we'll have some changes there, and other than that, it'll be another year. So,
do you think you're going to be having to add on to any? I noticed the other day, Concord High School, they're adding on something. What is that?
That's for the boilers for Concord Steam.
Oh, okay. For Concord.
Well, for us to get heat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because of the Concord Steam shutdown. Yeah.
But do you see? I saw a former teacher from the high school the other day in. We're in some store, and she said that Runlet was going to be remodelized or something.
Sure.
When's that going to take?
So they're in the process of studying that now. On this Thursday, April, the 20th, they're having the visioning person, New Vista Design. David Stevens is coming back because we've hired a consultant to look at the educational and architectural of that building, and then make a determination. What do we envision a future middle school to look like, and then should it be this school renovated, or should we build a new school? So that's all this study does, is make that. It's kind of a blueprint. Same thing we did at the elementaries back in 2005 when they originally started that. It's just a visioning process, and they'll come out with a recommendation based on that. But I do not see us adding on to any of the existing schools.
Really?
I just don't. No. There's enough capacity in them, and as you look at a middle school, you'll take that into account and see what you should do in the middle school. But unless there's some big building boom and generational shift here in the state, I'm not seeing it necessarily.
So when I went to run that, we had 2 floors on the whatever side, the east side wing or whatever. There was the 100 wing where most of the 9th graders sat. Then upstairs was the 7th grade, the 200 wing. Then you came around to the 300 wing, which was where the science rooms were. Then the 400 wing was where art and home economics and mechanical drawing, woodworking, and metal shop, all was down in there. And then the 500 wing was actually just 2 rooms, was where the music rooms were, classrooms. Now what have you got now?
It's all there, and then there's there's a 90s wing, there's a 60s wing, and then the original building. And then I think there was like an activity room that was added in the 80s. But so it's kind of it's a sprawling building. But it's not the most efficient building. It's all cinder block like this, so you're not going to get the greatest R value out of it. We put in a new air handling system in 2009, but it wasn't meant to. It was just trying to get the building a couple more years of life out of it. It wasn't a full gut and reno of the HVAC. So we'll see. They'll do the analysis and make a determination. But I mean, you go into the newer schools, it's just amazing. Yeah. The environment's so much fresher and brighter, and it's a much more welcoming environment than when you go into some of the older. Well, I shouldn't say older, middle school.
Are you still doing move-up day in June now for this?
Yeah, they do.
All right now.
Yep.
Used to be when Relnett was 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yeah.
The 6th graders would go over for the day. Now is it the 5th grade that goes over?
Yeah.
now?
And then the 8th graders have a move-up day over to the high school.
Oh really?
Yeah.
See, we didn't do that when I was down there. The 9th graders didn't go up to the high school.
Yep. Yep.
I wish they had. Because boy, I tell you, I can remember going down to Relnett from the 6th grade, and it was mind-boggling. I can tell you. It's like, oh.
It's a big building.
Yeah, back then it was. And
Yeah.
my home room was 209. That was where my home room was. Mrs. Duckworth was the current teacher in that room, but she announced that she was going downstairs to become the new librarian because Mr. Richmond was going over to St. Paul's School to do the advanced studies or something over there. His wife was an English teacher, I think, or she was the librarian. But she must be was going to retire, I guess. But that's what. And it was a big day down there to see all that. We got entertained by the Relnett band, the blue and white band, or the white band that day, I guess. And the majorettes came in, and then we had a day in 9th grade when Mr. Barry, who was the principal at the high school, came down to greet us, and he brought down the Concord High Band and their majorettes that time. So it was, that was interesting, but we didn't get a move-up day up there. But it's just, it's memories,
Oh, sure. Yep.
Do you ever get sometimes where where you think, what in the heck am I doing here? You're really happy there?
Oh, I love the job every day.
Yeah?
Every day.
Good.
Good people.
And Dewey School has worked out well for you being in there?
Yep, it's a good move. It's
Good.
a nice little building.
Good.
And, no, it's all good.
I know that we were working with the dictionary project at Granges, and we're waiting now for, Beaver Meadow and Broken Ground. We've got them, we're ready for them, but they said the next 2 weeks was going to be really a hazard, so I guess it's going to be after April vacation, I guess, when we get them.
Yep.
And then I got a phone call from McAuliffe saying, where's our dictionaries? We don't have any.
No.
We were told you didn't want them. Yeah, we do. So we had to order a whole new thing of dictionaries for them.
Okay.
They haven't arrived yet. They'll be hopefully coming soon. So we'll get them as soon as they get here.
Sure.
But I'm glad they do. Because it's been a good project. I mean, nationwide, the Grange has been doing them for probably close to 15 years. I guess it's been 11 years here in this state, but I know up to Beaver Meadow, Mr. G. Yeah, G. His name is. His name is Mr. Pike. Maybe it's Mr. P. I don't know.
Yeah.
He is fantastic up there. I can't say enough good things about him. The kids love him, and he just really is super. And then down to Abbott Downing, Mr. Z. Yeah. Another one who's finally cracked his egg. Now he smiles and he's really good. And but I still can't get used to those names. I still miss Conant and Kimball but that's the old me. Yep. But the Grange enjoys doing that project, and so as soon as the other ones arrive, we'll get them down there. But so.
Well, they'll be appreciative. I like it.
Yeah,
So.
We've had a good time. We went down to Abbott Downing and presented their dictionaries already. They enjoyed it that day. And then Dunbarton's got theirs because we tied them in with us. And, so, we're keeping busy with that regards there. But what do you see happening now for the next year already? Anything special on your agenda for next year?
Well, we'll see where the board wants to go, but I know one of the focus is definitely going to be Runlet.
Yeah.
And that school, even when we did the elementary schools, that was never, it's great that you're doing the elementary schools, and that was it. It was always, it's great you're doing the elementary schools, but when you're going to do Runlet? What are you going to do about Runlet? Always heard that. And I was always amazed. It was never, it was always that comma after. It's what about Runlet? So, and now, it's a matter of how do we get there? And what's the future hold for that kind of thing? My opinion is I think the days of building a school building to just be for instruction from this time in the morning to the mid-afternoon and that's it, I think those days are over. I think the buildings need to be more of a community use. They need to be safe and secure, but you need to be able to use those buildings to their fullest potential from early in the morning to at night. And it may involve some partnerships. I know we've very actively used these new schools.
Sure.
Between the Parks and Rec Department, the after-school programs, but I think that's where it needs to be.
Jack, what do you feel about the school resource officer? You still feel it's needed?
Up at the high school?
Yeah. Right.
I don't have much interaction with them, but I know, at least when it comes to budget time, they prefer having them there. And I know that all schooled, I think it was a Cops in Schools grant, something back in the day. And then eventually that grant money went away. And now,
do you have it down at Runlet too now? Or
no, we only have it at the high school. We only have one.
Does it bother you? It must be, where are you on your mind that when you hear of these incidents like we just had one out in California again?
Sure. Yeah.
You must have to think about it because you got kids that age, right?
Yeah, 10, 7, and 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
You must think of that though.
Well, you just got to wonder what goes through those people's minds, and it just shows you don't know. I mean, you hear that one out in San Bernardino.
Oh, I know.
People didn't seem to see it.
No.
And then sometimes you'll hear a story that comes out, or one or two that, well, I thought maybe there was some. But everybody seems to be consistent with these stories. We never would have suspected it, and that's what makes it tough.
Oh, I know. It's gotta be.
It's a shame.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on. As you heard the ding ding, that means we're all done for another day. But
Okay.
I've always enjoyed talking to you, and you've always been such a good guy.
Well, I appreciate it.
I
Thanks for
feel,
having me
I know
on.
the first time you ran as a school board member, I was running as counselor, I think.
Huh?
City councilor, I think, as we ran.
It was
together.
in 08.
Yeah.
So that's when I did that.
Yeah.
And then I ran again in 2011, I think I was up.
Yeah.
And then I left to do this. So.
And I went up to become state representative. But anytime if something comes up, you let me know if it's something that you feel strongly on that I can go and represent it on or go and talk, because I try to follow.
Well, I will tell you this: our biggest thing right now is trying to get assistance with the Concord steam conversion. There's a Senate Bill 105 that's out there,
Okay.
and we're trying to get that through to be able to help mitigate the impact on the local taxpayers.
I'll be watching for it then.
That's what we're hoping for. We've been talking with some of the senators, just informing them, because there's so many people that just don't understand. Oh, well, if you just lost your heat source, like the oil company goes out of business, you just go get another oil company.
Yeah.
I don't have the infrastructure. There's no water heaters. There's no boilers. If you go in your basement, there's something there.
Yeah.
I don't have any of that in 4 of the 7 schools.
Wow.
And, the other thing is not having heat. And, well, it's okay, you don't need it till October. Yeah, but I need hot water now.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that people are not getting, that you're going to lose hot water, too.
Sure.
In the way we're structured. And we're still going to have at least 14 days of school left.
Wow.
So.
Well, I didn't mind. Thank you for coming on, Jack, and say hi for me to my other buddy up there. I can't.
Mr. Cashman?
Matt Cashman, yes. So, and thanks to my director over there, Ian Marx, and we'll hopefully count the days to turn the books in and enjoy your summer and be ready for another big fall. So, with that in mind, thanks for joining us on Around Town. I'm your host, Dick Patten.